Hello and welcome to today's TC's first ever virtual Fireside Chat. I'm Rosella Garcia, the Senior Director of Alumni Relations. And today, President Tom Bailey and I are live streaming from our homes in New York City. I'm so grateful to be part of such a warm and wonderful community. It's been so heartwarming to hear from so many of you in the last few weeks, and even to see some of you on our virtual events. You may have noticed that essentially as soon as New York began to shelter in place, TC launched a series of events and a website called Come Together Right Now Virtually. We offer regular events from story hours to cabarets, professional development webinars, and even content to get you moving like Zumba and yoga. We also offer cooking demonstrations and meditation. If you're interested in joining one of these programs, I encourage you to visit our website. You can go to TC's homepage, tc.edu, and you'll find the link to click right there. I encourage you to come to one of our future sessions. And if you're interested in sharing your expertise or your special talent, please submit a proposal to provide one of your own sessions. Today, we're honored to have TC's 11th president, Tom Bailey, here with us to answer some of your questions. And we'll be together for about 30 or 40 minutes today. So we hope to get to as many questions as we can. But before we do that, to kick things off, Tom has a few updates that he'd like to share. Tom, take it away.
Okay, thank you, Rosella. So I'm delighted to be here. I wish I could see all of you. I've got to say that one of the greatest pleasures of my job is the opportunities that I have to go talk to you, meet you around the country. I'm sad that I'm not able to do that. I realized at some point that actually part of my job is to go talk to people and meet people who I respect and admire. So I really like that. So you all know that we're all online. That was a difficult thing to do, but I think we did that. We did that very well. I'm proud of the way our community was able to switch to online, both faculty and students. We've also, all of the employees and staff have gone to virtual work. That was also difficult at times, but I think we've done a great job with that. I want to really call out the staff in facilities and public safety who are still here, taking care of the students we have, taking care of our buildings. You know, I always say many of us are sheltered in our apartments and our houses, but those folks get on public transportation every day. One of the things that's really helped us in this transition has been the nature of our Teachers College community. I think we're an organization that really cares about each other, and I've really seen that as we've transitioned into this. I'm delighted to be talking to the alumni. I think that you're crucial. We certainly want your time to help us out. We want your talent as well, your advice, and of course, we could always use your financial support. Many people have asked me about the financial situation of the college. Of course, we are expecting to have, to lose some revenue, but we don't really know how much. We've already issued refunds to many students who left our housing. But I think we're asking ourselves now, what will the enrollments be in the summer? And I think that whatever happens in the summer, we'll manage that. The crucial question is what happens in the fall. We don't know whether we'll be online, whether we'll be here. There are questions about whether our international students will be able to attend. Will they be able to get here? Will be able to participate in online courses if that's what we have. So we're monitoring that. So I think over the next next month or so, we'll get a better sense of what the fall is going to be like. And then we'll make adjustments to whatever it is we need to do to be able to thrive in this new environment.
Thank you, Tom. What's been the greatest challenge that you've faced during this COVID crisis?
Clearly the shift to online was a huge thing, which we did in a matter of days. Actually, we're a little bit fortunate because we did it for a couple of days and then we went to spring break. So the faculty had a few days to, get ready for that. I mean, not only the kind of, resilience of our faculty and our students, I think we had built up an infrastructure to support online instruction over the last several years, and that turned out to be really useful in doing that. I think the other thing is that it's hard not to see people. I lived here on campus. I was in the halls a lot. You know, when I wanted to talk to somebody, I preferred to walk down the hall and drop into their office rather than to send them an email. I can't do that. And it really makes you think about how valuable it is to do these simple things like being able to talk to people and enter grocery stores without being anxious.
Right, it's so true. I think we'll never take for granted the ability to meet and have those hallway, quick meetings as we pass one another, and the opportunity to really just have that human contact for sure. It's great to see that our colleagues jumped right into it, and we really did just adapt to a completely online program. What would you say? I mean, I know you're not all that far into your term as presidency, and who could have ever predicted that we'd be facing a challenge like this? And I know you had priorities that were already in place, which have probably been realigned or maybe even reordered since we've encountered this. What would you say are your top priorities while we function online only?
We've been talking about a set of big priorities for the college, improving excellence, increasing research support, continuing to emphasize diversity and equity, better pathways for students, a more effective organization that will assure the long-term financial stability of the college. And those are still our priorities. There's no question about that. And everything that we do in this sort of chaotic period, we want to do to make sure that those support those priorities, or at least do the least we can to try to get in the way of that. But I think as far as the specifics of what we're doing now, so first of all, we need to, of course, have quality instruction. That's very important. As I said, we've been working on that, but I think that if we're going to be all online in the fall, we want students to feel that they're getting an excellent education, and indeed we would like to be leaders in that field. So I think that's one thing, but I think the other one is, how is it that we can really try to maintain a sense of community and togetherness? And that was really why we did the Come Together site, and I think that's wonderful. And so I think I would have those two things. I mean, excellence in our instruction, and the most we can do to try to generate a sense of community and togetherness. I mean, that's part of the kind of DNA of Teachers College. So, we don't want to lose that, and we want to maintain that as much as possible.
Absolutely. One of the questions that is on the minds of students everywhere, especially those preparing for graduation, is how will TC handle this year's convocation ceremonies?
We will have a virtual convocation, both coordinated with Columbia. If those of you who know, there's the big convocation where the deans or of the schools, including myself, the two presidents, Barnard and Teachers College, get up and ask for our students to be given their degrees. So we'll do that, and then we will have that evening. This is a Wednesday. I forget the exact date. I'm sure you could provide that.
The 20th.
We will have a virtual graduation for our students. Right? We're not going to have 4 sessions as we do. We'll have one, and it will maintain many of the same elements. We'll have student speakers. I'll have something to say. We'll see the names of everybody who's graduating. But I just want to say we're going to do the best we can to celebrate our graduates this year. And I want to say it really breaks my heart, because in addition to meeting the alumni, shaking all those hands is like a high point of my year. And so I will be sad that I won't be able to do that.
Absolutely. It's such an important milestone. And I know from the Alumni Relations Office and our Alumni Association, we are also truly committed to making it a great experience for our graduates. So I think together we'll make them feel special and truly a part of the TC family. We've had a few questions about students, specifically students that might still be either living on campus or in New York, and perhaps how is this affecting some of the students that may or may not have been diagnosed with COVID, and also our international students that might not have been able to get home. Can you tell us a little bit more about what the situation is there and how they're faring?
In March, as this began, we felt that the Whittier singles, where 15 people share one bathroom, was really not a sustainable social distance environment. So we asked people to leave if possible. And we did vacate the Whittier singles. We asked other students to leave, and we did not want, I mean, we understand that many students, this was their home. They didn't have any other place to go. Some international students felt that if they went home, they would not be able to come back. So we were able to accommodate everybody in our housing. So I think that's one thing. Now, as far as and we understand we're trying to, be as supportive as possible for international students. We understand the issues. There are visa questions that are still up in the air, so we're keeping on top of that.
As we mentioned, students are still going through online classes, and faculty are teaching. As we've experienced this, what would you say are some of the lessons we've learned for online education, which was one of the strategic priorities that you had for the future? How would you say that this crisis has sort of spurred us into a future more grounded in online education?
We had an infrastructure, and we did have many of our faculty were teaching courses online. Many of them weren't. I mean, I never taught one online. And so, as we transitioned, there were certainly faculty who did not have much experience. And one of the great things about this transition was about 20 faculty who did have experience stepped up to be advisors or mentors to those who weren't. Now, I don't, our goals had been, for those of you who know the fifth floor of the library, we were going to set up a center for digital innovation, pedagogy, and research. So that's just part of, so we're probably accelerating that. And we're, part of that is going to be both making sure that all our faculty are teaching effectively online. We're having workshops with faculty. We're meeting with departments, making sure that faculty, we've developed an infrastructure and a common look to our courses. So those are, I mean, the Office of Digital Learning has done a great job with that. This was clearly a case where, one of our priorities really fit into this well. And so we're going to be emphasizing that.
Excellent. And how has the feedback been? Have faculty and students been in touch about their experience?
I think that in general, we've gotten good feedback from that. I mean, there's variation in the quality of that. So I think that, in a sense, if, people who never had done it and all of a sudden leapt into doing it, so there are issues there. Sometimes they're technological questions. So I would say that we've had, I think, had very good feedback. There are issues. Many students went back to, let's say, especially to China. So you can imagine your 3 o'clock class in the afternoon is 3 a.m. So that's an issue. And people have different internet connection issues as well. So those are all things that we're looking into. It's clear. I mean, one of the things about this has really shown that, it's fine if you go to a nice house and you have your own room and you can do your studies, your online education there. If you don't, if you're, going back to a smaller apartment where you may be sharing a bedroom, where you don't have a lot of equipment, those are the kinds of issues that we really, need to be addressing. And those are the things I think that, stand in the way of an excellent experience for every student in this area.
Absolutely. If nothing else, this has taught us all to be a little bit resourceful, as we can see here, sort of troubleshooting as we go through and try out some of these new formats. We've been seeing a lot, especially this week in the news, about a forecast for the coronavirus to return and have a new wave in the fall. And of course, you mentioned earlier that we will be online for the summer and that the fall was still up in the air, which is certainly understandable. But if it becomes the case that we are also online in the fall, What challenges will the college face if we can't reopen?
Well, I mean, we will reopen. We just
Oh,
won't be
sorry, in
online.
person.
One of the reasons people come to teach colleges because they want to come to New York. So,
Right.
I mean, you can imagine that a student for whom that's a major factor might want to wait a year till they can come back. So I think that's one issue. The international, I think, as I said, there are questions about whether international students can return. We will continue to build throughout the summer the quality of our instruction so that we're at a point where that's really a high point. From the point of view of the college, we get a substantial amount of income from our housing, and we could have a robust instructional fall where everybody comes and our enrollments are up. But then if we have no housing or people aren't in our housing, that might be a significant financial issue for us. So those are some of the things that we're thinking about.
As you can imagine, with so many alumni on the line today, we've had quite a few questions about how can alumni help? What is it that they can do to support the college right now?
First of all, you can do what we'd like you always to do, right? Which is to say, stay in touch with us, give us your feedback. I mean, as I have gone out into the country talking to people, I've had people come and tell me about their experience at Teachers College, good or bad. I want to hear that, so we want to continue to do that. Obviously, we're in a competitive environment for students. You can be our ambassadors for that. I mean, we'd like to, develop a greater mentoring kind of career system. We're building up our career office and career assistants, and so we'd like to, be able to use alumni as much as possible. And look, I mean, in the end, we're going to have financial constraints, and so we can certainly use your financial help as well. The annual fund is a particularly good thing at this point because it's unrestricted and we can use it wherever the greatest need is for that. So I know you're doing this every year anyway, but I think this year there's a particularly good reason for you to support us. So, but just in general, I mean, we want to, one of the things that I've emphasized is this concept of pathways, which is that, we have a relationship with students from the time they apply to years after they graduate. And we want that relationship to continue. And we want to be able to help you with career transitions that you have later in life and continue to be connected to you. So this doesn't change that.
We have heard from a member of the community who just wanted to say a big thank you to the leadership for steering us through this crisis. The comment says, I know it's like reinventing a college in a few weeks and with no notice. So well done and bravo to you from members of the community. How are some of our essential workers doing their part on campus and taking care of us while we're not there?
Our custodial staff, housekeeping in those buildings, what we have done for them is that we're having them work 3 days a week. We're continuing to pay them, but they're working 3 days a week so that we can minimize their exposure. And I just want to say again, I don't, I know we all probably, I go out in the street and I'm all nervous and afraid and, put on a mask and gloves and, to get in the subway or the bus every day and come in and work here is, I think, just amazing.
Absolutely. For our custodial team and our security team that are really putting themselves out there on the front lines for us, we all say a huge thank you, and they're truly our TC heroes right now in this crisis. Have you seen others sort of stepping forward and doing things in big ways that have helped in this crisis?
That the folks in the Office of Digital Learning have really done a great job with that. And it's been kind of a flood of activity with that. So I think very thankful to them. I mean, I think we all owe them a great deal that we were able to, to get online and and to proceed as well as we have. I think there are a lot of these are, they're students who are living in our dorms who are community assistants, people who are in the mail room. All of those things are, they're continuing to do their own studies, but at the same time, they're helping out, with the other residents who are there. I mean, I think there are other, professors who have stepped up to help out other professors. I think there are many stories that we have of people who have, um, done things. Because of my age, I'm in one of the at-risk categories. So some folks here in the building have volunteered to do some shopping for us so that we don't have to go out. So I think those kinds of things are happening all over the place.
Absolutely, that community spirit is strong. Couldn't agree more. The Office of Online Learning and Digital Learning is doing an incredible amount. We've already talked about the fact that all of our classes are online. One of your original priorities when you first announced your strategic goals and your pathways was the opportunity to take a look at academic programs and perhaps streamline some programs. And there's been a couple of questions about, now that we've shifted to online learning, do you see potential change down the line for degree programs? Do you see that perhaps giving opportunity for more interdisciplinary degrees?
Are thinking about how to optimally organize our college hasn't really been changed by this. I mean, we're still thinking about that, and I do think that that I think it's very important to think about ways to promote interdisciplinary collaboration. I mean, the research center that I ran before I was president, the Community College Research Center, at one time we had students from 7 of the 10 departments working for us. So that was an interdisciplinary experience that they were getting, even though, I mean, many of our departments already are interdisciplinary in various ways. So I think we understand. I mean, if you're raising money from funders, they are often particularly interested in practice in interdisciplinary work. So one way or the other, we're thinking about how we can promote, whether that's by organizing interdisciplinary departments or whether that's by having entities which bring people together in an interdisciplinary way. I do want to say that there are, there's certainly things that we will be thinking about in terms of the content of our programs because of the crisis that we're in now. And certainly, I mean, there's no question. I think that online instruction will be part of our teaching programs now. So I think but there are other public health in things, other ways in which we can make sure that the programs that we do have are adjusted and designed in a way so that we're really seen as providing a foundation and a lot of assistance to the community, to the Board of Education, to colleges and universities in terms of providing the skills and support that helps us get through this, and then then in the future provide a foundation that prepares us for these types of things if they were to happen again.
Let's maybe segue over to some more questions of allowing us to get to know Tom Bailey a little bit better. What does your day look like? What does your normal routine look like?
I'm sure you're all reading How to Survive This, and one of them is having a routine. And I pretty much have a routine, which I do. I tend to go to bed early, 9-ish or 9:30, and I get up at 5. I have my coffee. There's a whole ritual. I have that. I do the New York Times crossword puzzle. I've been doing that for 25 years, so I'm continuing to do that. I do about an hour or 45 minutes of exercise. I have my breakfast. I take a shower. I get dressed. Not entirely, the normal way, but I do get dressed. Then I do a couple of hours of email, writing if that's necessary. And then at 9 or 10, the Skype meetings start. Sometimes they go most of the day. I try to leave some time in the middle of them so that I can not be on Skype all day, which is very tiring, as many of you know, because that's what you're all doing. By the end of the day, I have another period of time to try to catch up on email. We have dinner together every night. And then if I have enough time before it's time for me to go to bed, I play the piano. So I try to play the piano. So those are and I try to do that pretty much routinely so that it kind of gives me a structure. I think that helps me think that things are kind of normal and we're just, proceeding day by day. I do at the end of the day, I have a calendar and I cross off the day because whatever the end of this is, it's one day closer.
Absolutely. As long as you're not yet etching that into the wall, I think we're still doing okay. And there's a lot of binge watching that has swept our culture in the last few years, and of course, right now the hot show that people are watching is the Tiger King, which I'm going to guess that you're not streaming the Tiger King. But are there any shows that you're watching, or books that you're reading, or podcasts that you're listening to?
I do listen to books at night. Right now I'm listening to The Guns of August, which I read when I was in high school many years ago, which is an amazing book, really. I'm not sure that it really helps me get to sleep. So, then I listen to mysteries, other kinds of things too. I find that if I listen to books when I go to sleep, it helps me sleep. And then when I wake up in the middle of the night, I've gone beyond where I is. And so I take some time to figure out where I was, and that distracts me so I don't start thinking about other things that might keep me awake. I basically, because I go to bed fairly early and then I want to try to have some time to play the piano, I don't really get much of a chance to watch TV or movies, but on the weekends we do sometimes. But I'm not knowledgeable about the latest hot movies, TV shows. I hear about them, but I don't get much of a chance to watch them.
I think that's fair. It sounds like you have a fairly well-rounded routine. And we actually had quite a few comments, people asking if you were still playing the piano. And someone even mentioned they'd like to see you host a future session playing the piano. So perhaps we can schedule that down the line. Maybe a virtual jam session.
No, that's not going to happen. So,
okay.
I mean, if you've ever started to learn an instrument in your late middle age, you can imagine what it's like. So I love it. I really enjoy it. Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll work really hard on something and be able to do that.
Fantastic. And you mentioned a little bit about, waking up at night and trying to avoid thinking about those questions that might keep you up all night. What are those questions? What are the things that keep you up at night?
When we had a Whittier full of students with common bathrooms, I was very worried about that. So that's one thing. So all the students, I mean, I understand, it's been very disruptive for students. The students who are here, they had to leave. As I said, many students may not have ideal circumstances. Students have lost jobs. Their spouses have lost jobs. Their parents have lost jobs. Their children have lost jobs. I mean, so there's a big issue there that's definitely concerns me. I mean, look, I don't, I mean, we're an institution. I think we're we have been financially stable, but we're dependent on tuition. And I don't, we're wondering what will happen. I mean, we're optimistic. If we look at our applications and deposits right now, we're looking pretty good, both a little bit down for the summer, but we're looking pretty good for the fall. But, we don't know. There's so much we don't know. So I have to say that's something else that causes concern. I mean, really, one of the things about this is that, I can, when you're leading an institution like this, there's always issues. I mean, we had enrollment drops 2 or 3 years ago, so there's concern about that, and you worry about things, there are conflicts and other types of things. But what's unique about this is that, while we have all those concerns, we're all worried about whether we're going to get sick, and where we're going to get our groceries. And, I've got to say that's a unique, set of issues to try to confront, to solve these big problems, but at the same time, they're personal issues that we all are confronting.
We had someone wanting to ask a follow-up question about the 5th floor of the library. Can you tell us a little bit more about the plans that have already begun? And specifically from this point of view, I think the question came from a student and they wanted to know if students would be involved because the prospect of being able to be involved sounds very exciting to them.
First of all, we have lots of things already going on around the college that are and so that are certainly online instruction related, but technology related too. That isn't. And so one of the things that I emphasized when I came was that, we had a program to try to promote online degree programs and certificates, but at the same time, I thought that's good. We want to do that, but I think we should broaden the definition of that to think about the optimal use of technology in education. And certainly one of those uses of technology is online education. So I think we're just developing the plans for this. I think that there will be services there to help people teach. There will be, I think we'll try to promote. I mean, right now we have faculty who are working with schools or parents to try to help them navigate what they're doing here. So I think we'd have people doing that as well. And we'd have research projects. So I do, and there we would be, as I said, I think we'll be looking for funding from donors as well as research funding, and in which case I think that we will definitely have students involved with that. I think there'll be lots of opportunities for students, both in terms of research as well as working in the center. But I think it'll be, it's going to be. I mean, we're going to be developing that over the next year. So, come back in 6 months or a year and we'll see where we are.
We're nearing our time, but maybe as our last question, you could tell us, what have you been the most proud of as Teachers College has reacted to this situation?
What we've done in terms of moving to online. I mean, it's really kind of monumental when you think about that, about what we've been able to do there. So, I'm very happy about that. And then, as I said, I think we have, we've kind of demonstrated the strength of our community and the connections that we have to each other that you can sense even though we're not physically together. So I'm very pleased that I can, I must say there are people I see now more than I did, when we were together physically. And so as I've watched the institution adjust to this, I just say that I'm that much prouder to actually be able to lead the institution.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for that leadership. I think it has been just truly wonderful to see the TC community coming together. And it's true, I have seen some of our alumni more now than I have in the past year. So in some ways, it really has brought us together and encouraged us to really reach out and support one another. So we're excited for that, and hopefully that will continue beyond this, and we know we will get through this and thrive. And just a reminder for all of you that are wanting to get connected, there are opportunities daily for you to connect with the TC community. So we invite you to do that through our website, Come Together Right Now virtually, and you can just find that easily at the homepage on tc.edu. It'll be the first thing that you reach when you land on our homepage. And again, thank you so much, Tom. We appreciate your being here and being such an open book for us and answering some of the questions that were on the minds of our alumni, students, friends, faculty, and community members, including our staff. So thank you.
Well, Rosella, thank you so much too for putting this together. Really, I think you're doing a great job with with our alumni, and I think our whole alumni community, I think, is getting stronger and more together. So anyway, and thank you for organizing this opportunity for me. As I said, I'm seeing you and me on the screen. I wish I could see the whatever 100 people who are out there, even in the little boxes, but it's your presence. So thank you for being here.
Well, thank you. Of course. Thank you very much, Tom. And to all of you that tuned in today, thank you so much.